In the Histories by Herodotus of Halicarnassus, a story is told of the capture of Babylon by the Persian king Darius. The writings of Herodotus are the only place where we find evidence of this tale. Chafing under Persian rule, the city of Babylon spent a year making secret preparations for a lengthy siege. When the time came to declare their intent, they strangled all non-essential personnel in the city and settled in for a protracted engagement. When Darius and his forces arrived, the Babylonians stood on top of their walls and mocked him, one of the defenders calling out, "You Persians can have our city as soon as a mule gives birth." And they held on well for a year and 7 months until one day, a mule belonging to the son of one of Darius' closest confidants gave birth. The owner of the mule was a nobleman named Zopyrus. He did not believe his servants when they first told him about the mule, but once he saw it with his own eyes, he knew that that meant that the time for Babylon to fall was at hand, and he decided that he must be the instrument of its demise. He ordered everyone who knew about the birth to keep silent. Zopyrus devised a plan in secret. He mutilated himself. He cut off his ears, his nose. It says that he cut his hair short like a slave, and he covered his back with whip marks. Then he presented himself to his own king. The king was shocked, but when Zopyrus told him his plan, it was eventually met with approval. Zopyrus presented himself to the gates of Babylon, claiming that he was a deserter from the forces of Darius because Darius had seen fit to mutilate him for suggesting that they lift the siege. Seeing his physical state, that was fairly easy to believe. Zopyrus was a noted military commander, and he told the Babylonians that his proximity to Darius gave him valuable intelligence, so he was given charge of a small group of the defenders. Now, cleverly, Zopyrus had conspired with Darius to have him send a series of attacks against parts of the wall that he himself was holding, sending men that were poorly armed, whose loss will not worry you, so that Zopyrus could be seen defeating larger and larger forces. And after the third time he cut down a group of Persians, he was named General-in-Chief and Guardian of the Wall. After this, Zopyrus had Darius launch a full-scale assault on every part of the wall. Then he used his position as commander to send all the defenders up to the battlements to face the Persians on top of the walls. Then he opened the gates at the bottom, allowing the Persian forces into the lower city that had just been vacated of soldiers. So there are two problems with this story. First, we have no corroborating evidence that this ever happened, and secondly, this story absolutely mirrors one of the adventures of Odysseus from the Iliad, in which he mutilates himself to disguise himself in order to infiltrate a city. One thing of interest, during the previous siege of Babylon, Cyrus the Great had taken the city by diverting the river that ran through it, taking his invading forces up the dry riverbed. Herodotus says that the city was vigilant and was prepared for that tactic, so Darius tried it, but it didn't work. It doesn't say how they defended against it, though.